Let's look at how to add terminals to wires to get this factory looking finish. So when you're installing a custom accessory or modifying any existing wiring, it is really important to get a solid crimp and seal up the ends of your wires very well to prevent corrosion and to prevent the wire from pulling out. Now, I'm a big fan of using solder. This is 0.8 millimeter solder. The thin stuff's really good for fine wiring. The thicker stuff is really good for when you're doing thicker wiring like battery cables. Solder is a forever connection.
How else could 2 months' salary last forever? A
soldered connection
is forever.
And if done properly, it is very, very reliable. A lot of people don't like using solder because if you don't use it correctly or you don't practice with it a lot, you can end up doing more damage than good and basically creating solid wires that are going to break during the course of normal use because of vibration. So if you're just going the crimp route, you can get connectors. This kit was pretty inexpensive off of Amazon. However, you do get what you pay for. These are heat shrink connectors. So what's really cool with these is that after you've crimped it, you can then melt it, the heat shrink connector all in one, and that'll provide a double lock on your connector and it'll seal out any type of corrosion. So step one is to strip your wire. Now, I like manual wire strippers, but they do make automatic strippers that work as well. I just haven't had quite as good a luck with these, and I found sometimes that they don't leave quite as clean of a finish at the end. Or they rip out some of the strands. The other thing I don't care for on these is the amount of moving parts. And that more parts just means you can end up running into more issues with reliability. I've had these for about 15 years and they haven't let me down yet. So I have 16 gauge wire here. On my strippers, I'm going to use the portion that says for 16 gauge wiring. Some strippers will specify on the end for solid or stranded wiring. You should always be using stranded wiring in automotive applications. It has much better vibration resistance and is much more flexible. So on my 16 gauge wire, into the 16 gauge stripping hole, a solid squeeze, let off, and then pull. Anytime you twist, you are going to damage the wiring, just like all of those little sprinkles that I had there. So if this happens, you squeezed a little bit too hard and you've compromised the integrity of the wire. So you need to try that one again. And to the 16 gauge hole, squeeze, release, and pull. And that time I did quite a bit better. So now that I have the end of my wire stripped, we're going to twist it. And we need to pick the appropriate connector for our gauge of wiring. So you can see this one says right on it 16 to 14 gauge. Yellow is typically a 12 to 10 gauge. And pink would be for your thinner wire, 22 to 16 gauge. The other thing to keep in mind is the size of the eyelet right here. You don't want to pick an eyelet that's too big for your situation. That one works very nicely, and that one would work too. So my next step is to insert the wire into the eyelet. And you can twist a little bit to help it go in, and you can see that I stripped off a little bit more insulation than I needed to. So I can fix that up right quick. There we go. So I'm going to apply my crimp connector. That's in place. As for crimpers, many wire strippers have them built right into the end, or in this case, they're built into the handle. These automatic crimpers do a nice job, and typically they don't damage the connector. So these are probably your safest bet. Insert and squeeze. And look at that. We're crimped, and that's pretty solid crimp. However, if you've got a keen eye, you may notice it looks like those crimpers damaged my insulation here. And this is why I'm not particularly a fan of the ones that come heat shrink already. I like to apply a bare connector, solder it, and then put the heat shrink tube over top of it. That's just what works for me. Our next step here would be to shrink the heat shrink tubing. Now, to do this, you can use a heat gun, which is my recommended method, but they're not always practical because they have to be attached to a power outlet. You can use a butane torch. However, do be careful with the butane torch. It is very easy to singe the wire. Fire! And to singe other things that you're working on around the wire. I'm going to apply heat to this. You'll notice that I'm not holding the flame in one spot. I'm holding it a little ways back so that I'm not singeing the wire in the connector. I'm just allowing the heat to do its job. Patience and practice is key here. I'll show you in a minute what happens if you get a little too overzealous. So you can see here my finished product, how I have no singeing on my wire. And these are pretty decent connectors, and they have an adhesive inside of them. So there's just a tiny, tiny little bit of that adhesive that's come out of the end there, which means we're good. We're weather sealed. That connector is solid. And I was a little bit nervous earlier on the end. From the crimp, there is the tiniest little hole right there in that heat shrink. So this heat shrink is not weather sealed. However, I mean, this part right there is open. So is this going to be the end of the world on a connector like this? No. But if that was on a butt connector, I would be cutting that out and redoing that. Which is, again, why I like heat shrink tubing and plain connectors. Now, what would this look like if we tried to heat that up too fast and we singed the wire? It's 14 gauge wire in here. I'm going to over exaggerate this crimp, and you can see I damaged the heat shrink right there. Grab my torch, turn it to max. We got to get this job done fast. Go too close. And that got done right fast like, but if we look closely at the wiring, you can see that I singed it right there. And that is going to compromise the integrity of the insulation, and over time, that's going to wear away. You're going to end up with a weak spot that's going to have some corrosion issues. And it may not seem like that big of a deal, but if that's in the middle of a harness, that could get covered up with wire loom, and that could be a very difficult intermittent problem for somebody to find down the road, and very expensive on something that's very easily preventable. Let's look at how to correctly use these crimpers, because there is a right and a wrong way. So I've removed some of the insulation from my blue connectors here. Remember, the blue was for 16 to 14 gauge wire, and I've got 14 gauge wire right here. So I'm going to strip a little bit off of the end, maybe about 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters, roughly, very roughly. I'm a mechanic, I give estimates. Yeah, and see, even that was a little bit too much. You don't want that wire to be interfering with the bolt end of your connector. Now see, that's not enough, because you do want a little bit of the wire to be out, because as you crimp the end, that's going to just give it a little bit of extra holding power. Third time's the charm. Okay, here we go. We're going to crimp this 3 different ways. Using the bare crimper, I'm going to do 1 crimp on the tabs, 1 crimp on the back, and then 1 using the automatic crimper. So, the tooth onto the tabs. Get crimped in pretty decently, which is not always the case. Putting the tooth in between the tangs, which is what you're not supposed to do. That one turned out okay, but if you look at the end there, we can see that they are not uniformly clamping. The tooth on the back look at that right there. Look at how nicely that end is in place. So putting that little tooth into the back of your connector is the way to go to get the best, most uniform crimp every single time. And if we put the tooth into the back the way we're supposed to, let's see what happens. We have a very nice, professional looking, strong, uniform clamp. And then for our final one, the automatic crimpers. So we can see that the automatic crimpers did not give me the best crimp there. and that would be a comeback. Now from here we can either solder it or add our heat shrink to it, and away we go. I'm on my vehicle now, and I've got my connector that I'm going to use that is sized right for both the terminal end and the wire end. I'm going to strip just about 1/4 of an inch of insulation off of the wire. And if you run into an issue where the wire is bigger than what your strippers can strip, you can grab a bigger pair of strippers. Or you can very carefully use an X-Acto blade, not cutting yourself or any of the wire. Don't forget to take your heat shrink and put it over the wire before you add the terminal, or you may have to take the terminal off and then put the heat shrink back on. Going to install my terminal, remembering not to go too far, because if that wiring gets in front of my eyelet there, it's not going to be very useful now, is it? Now I'm going to take my crimper, and remember that little tooth goes behind the claws, and you want those little claws centered, and then squeeze. So it leaves an indent on the back of the connector. We have a nice even application of pressure by those claws. And if it doesn't turn out exactly perfect the first time, don't hesitate to go back and get it right. And now I always like to add solder. So that's what we're gonna do now. In a situation like this with a thicker piece of wire, a soldering iron's good, or this butane torch will apply heat faster. So I'm gonna be able to hold my wire right here, get the end hot enough to solder it and not burn my fingers. If my fingers are burning, then I've got too much heat in there and I've damaged my wire. You don't need to slaughter it with solder, because if you get too much solder and it goes down past the insulation, you've essentially created a solid wire which isn't going to be very flexible. From here, I'm going to bring my heat shrink up, turn on my butane torch again, holding the torch a little ways away so I don't singe my wire or singe my heat shrink, apply heat. And now we have a very strong, very reliable connection. This will go on here, on this fuse, and look at that. Other than not being the same color, that looks pretty good. It's almost as nice as a factory connection.